What's up, Wise Flyers? David here. Today we're going to talk about how to raise your credit limit. More specifically, the highest amount you could raise your credit limit in the shortest amount of time. The reason why I'm sharing these secrets with you is so that you could raise your credit score. If you are in a lot of debt and you want to raise your credit limit just so that you could spend more money and get more into debt, then I don't recommend you watching this video. You could click away now. I really want to help people raise their score, which is the main reason why I'm sharing these secrets. Basically, a higher credit limit will raise your credit score. If with a higher credit score, you have so many more opportunities in life, it'll help you save thousands of dollars through the long term, whether a lower interest on mortgage, loan, or even the ability to get travel credit cards and get thousands of dollars in free travel, which is what I teach on my channel. So if you want to learn how to use credit cards and travel points to travel anywhere almost free, you could hit the subscribe button and the bell so you don't miss a thing. So in this video, I'll go over specifically how to raise your credit limit, what to do online, how to talk to the representative over the phone, what amount you should ask for. I'm going over all that. So if you want to raise your credit limit the fastest way possible, make sure you pay attention to the entire video. But before that, let's talk about why your credit limit matters. So your credit limit is how much credit the credit card issuers, banks, or whatever are going to extend to you. So for example, let's say you have $10,000 in credit limit, but you spend $5,000 and you have a $5,000 balance between all your credit cards, then you are at a 50% utilization rate. Besides paying all your bills on time, credit utilization is the second most important factor to determining a good credit score. Some people say you should keep your credit utilization below 30%, but ideally I think it should be down to 0% and pay everything in full every single month. Now, let's say that your credit limit gets increased to $20,000. Therefore, and let's say you have $5,000 in debt between all your cards, then you're at a 25% utilization. So under 30%, it does help your score dramatically if you're under a 30% utilization. And so that's how a credit limit can help improve your credit score. Another option is to also open another credit card, which can then make your credit limit higher between all your cards, and therefore that could lower your credit utilization as well. So, but if you're not in that position to open a new credit card, then let's go over how you could increase your credit limit. When it comes to applying for a credit limit, it's important to note that certain banks offer a cap of how much credit limit you could have. So depending on where you're at, it may not even make sense to get a higher credit limit on that specific credit card. For example, Chase only allows you to have a certain amount of credit limit. It's 50% of whatever your reported income is. So just for number's sake, let's just say your credit or your income reported on the application is $100,000. Therefore, Chase is only going to extend $50,000 in credit limit between all of their credit cards. That's personal and business credit cards. So keep that in mind depending on which bank you're deciding to do a credit limit with. The first strategy to get a credit limit is more passive. It's allowing the bank or issuer to give you a automatic credit limit increase. If you're paying your bills on time, everything is good, no late fees or anything like that, sometimes the banks will actually increase your credit score on their own without you even having to ask for it. So let's look at it from the bank's perspective. If you are a good customer, you're making a lot of transactions on the card, which gives them transaction fees. So the banks make anywhere from 2 to 3% for every single swipe that you make on a credit card. So if you're using the card regularly, you're paying it, there's no late fees, nothing like that, the bank will want to reward you with more credit because you're a good customer in their eyes. And if you don't want to play the waiting game, this is how you raise your credit limit: by requesting a credit limit increase. So depending on the issue that you have, you could just go online and ask for a credit limit increase, or you have to call up. For example, Bank of America, if you just go into your Bank of America account, they have a link where you could just ask for a credit limit increase there. But with Chase, you're gonna have to call that number on the back and request credit limit increase that way. It's important to note that before you request a credit limit increase is that it will affect your credit score. So most of the time, asking for a higher credit limit, the bank will have to do a credit pull or do a hard pull and give you a credit inquiry because they're gonna have to look at your credit report. The way a credit inquiry affects your report is that it'll ding you 3 to 5 points, which will last 12 months on your credit score. Then after that, you'll get your points back. And then 24 months, it'll actually be removed from your credit report as a hard pull or credit inquiry. Although it will ding your credit score by a few points, the positive long-term effects of it could be much greater, because then your credit utilization will go down because your credit limit will be much higher. You'll have to weigh out that a short-term decrease in points will give you a long-term increase in points. When you submit a request for credit limit, the issuer has three options. They could deny it, they could counteroffer and say we want to give you a lower credit limit, or they will accept it. Let's just assume that your credit issuer doesn't have the option to do it online, which is very simple and straightforward. I'll go over the instructions of how to call up and what to say for a credit limit increase. So when you call up, you want to have 5 pieces of information ready to say to the representative for the credit limit increase. You need to know your address and social security number, current employment status, total monthly and annual gross income, monthly mortgage or rent payments, and amount of requested limit increase you want. So before picking up the phone, make sure you know these 5 pieces of information. You pick up the phone, you call the number on the back of your card, you speak to the representative, you want to kindly ask the representative that you want to raise your credit limit. Now, this representative that you're speaking to on the phone may help you, or they might transfer you. Once you're talking to the representative, then you want to ask in a very nice way. You want to say that you want to have a credit limit increase. Now, remember, you want to be polite, you want to be confident, you want to be sure, you want to be really nice to this person, because this is the person who's going to make the decision to give you a credit limit increase. And if you want to know how much of an increase you should ask for, I'll let you know that after these next few steps. Now, the representative may ask you, why do you want a credit limit increase? It's important that you mention some qualifying reasons, not just any reason at all that you're in a lot of credit card debt or that you want to buy a new yacht or whatever it is. You want to make sure it's the right reason. You want to kindly remind them that you have a great history of on-time payments, you frequently use the card, and that you want to improve your credit score, and that you may have come across an increase in pay with your employment, or you have a new financial opportunity coming along, therefore you're going to have a higher income overall for the house. So that's kind of the words that you want to say. Now, of course, you don't want to lie at all. You don't want to say that you're going to be getting paid more if that's not the case. So make sure you're very truthful when it comes to this part. Now, when it comes to the number of how much credit you should ask for, it really depends on your situation. Ideally, you want it to be between 10% and 25% increase. If you have debt, whatever your credit utilization is at, you want to try to get it under 30%. So whatever percentage you ask for in a credit limit increase, you want to make sure that that number, once approved, will get you underneath 30% credit utilization. So if you have a $10,000 credit limit at the moment, if you were to ask for 25%, then that is $2,500. Hopefully that'll help you out in getting your credit utilization under. Let me know in the comments below if you've ever asked for a credit limit increase, and if you did, what percent did you ask for? Put it down in the comments below. I think it would help all of us out in the community to see what numbers you're getting. So if you do have a really good credit history and you have other cards and you pay everything in full, you can go higher than 25%, sometimes 35, 40%, but I would say the general rule is between 10% and 25%. Another option here is if you want an artificial increase in your credit score, you could become an authorized user on someone's card. Let's say you become an authorized user on someone else's credit card and they have a $10,000 credit line. This could help you out to decrease your credit utilization. So if your credit limit is at $10,000 and this other person has a $10,000 limit on their credit card, then that extra $10,000 will then reduce your credit utilization, and you don't even have to pay anything to do that type of quick fix. When you become an authorized user on someone else's card, you want to make sure that it is a short-term plan. You don't want to be on the card forever. You want to ideally open up your own card or get enough credit limit increase to replace that authorized user's credit limit that you're pretty much absorbing on your credit report. And if you're interested in becoming an authorized user on one of my cards, I have a link down in the description below. Now, let's say you get this credit limit increase. Do not mess it up. You still want to pay your bills in full every single month. If you do have debt, focus on tackling that debt. Try to eliminate it as soon as possible. You don't want this debt hanging over you and thinking about it all the time. It'll feel so good just to pay it off in full. And no matter how many months it takes or years, just do a little bit at a time to knock out that debt. And if you want to learn the 5 best ways to raise your credit score above 800, you could click this link over here or this one down here, and I'll see you in the next video.